Check. Hello everyone, it looks like we are live and it looks like my white balance is super off. We'll see if that gets better as we go. I'm just going to leave it like that for now. Tonight we are working in pen pastel and colored pencil. I am on Inktense and MeWe. This is the smooth side. I've already drawn my swan out. You can get this reference photo from patreon.com/Lachri. The direct link is in the video description. If you're watching this after the fact, you don't want to dig through all the posts. You do not need to be a member or log in or anything like that to get it. You can just log in and download the photo. It also, hold on, don't play. There we go. It also comes with the, whoops, messing stuff up. It comes with the reference photo, the color swatches, the line art, anything you need to get started. So there's that. Also, we're in the middle of kind of a big thunderstorm hitting right now, and that bad cow is terrified of the thunder. So he's, you may have, I'll pre-warn you if I sound extra firm telling him to lay down. It's the only way to kind of get him to calm down. If you're super nice and sweet, he just panics worse. So if I sound like, if you're like, why are you being so mean to the scared cow? Trust me, I don't want to be, but that's what works for him, is just, you know, using a firm voice. But also I give him treats as like thunder equals happy times. But also you can't climb behind my easel, which is what he was trying to do earlier. So we'll see. Yeah, I'm talking about you. He's like, it's not my fault. I got scared. So, oh, and that camera is not angled at them very well. Let's just turn that a bit. I must have hit it when I was working on the tank that's next to him. Yeah, good enough. So there we go. Let's see. Anything else we need to, before we get started? Now on this, if you look at the reference photo, this, and actually I can pull it up for a here. I'll pull the reference photo or leave it up once we're onto the colored pencil portion. But if you look at the reference photo, we've got super high contrast between the white, like I mean as white as we can get it, and the darker colors. And that's really what we're focusing on here, not details, because this, if we look at the size there, that's not very big. There's not a lot of room for a ton of detail. So we're really focusing on the lighting. Dark's dark enough, light's light enough. That is what we care about for this one here. And that's going to be true whenever you're working on something. If you've got a ton of detail, we're really going to focus on your lighting. That's what's going to matter more. Now, this is something that I see. We'll just do a little tangent before we get started here. This is something I see a lot when people are struggling with, let's say they've got a wolf up, and this is, I don't know what the wolf one is. I see it a lot though. Wolf out kind of in the distance in the trees, but they're trying to put all those little details. No, he's off in the distance. You wouldn't see those little details. Details up front, if he's off in the distance, you're going to see the lighting. Where are the highlights and the shadows? That's what we want to focus on, and that is definitely our focus here. We will be getting the illusion of details without like all the little teeny tiny details. But if you like getting detail work, if you like, because this is an amazing photo, I got it from Unsplash. If you wanted to do every little feather, every detail in those feathers, work bigger. Like this, if you did like a 16 by 20, you've got plenty of room to get that detail. Bigger would even be better, but that's what you want to do when you want the really detailed stuff. But in this case, 5 by 7, we want to simplify things and focus more on our lighting to get that realistic look, not the detail. What else? I think that's it. So this was drawn on tracing paper, and I used transfer paper to transfer that onto my paper cleanly so I don't have a bunch of eraser lines. And I think we are good. Okay, what's first? We need to start with, oh, coffee. Coffee is first. This is my second cup for the evening, which I'm definitely going to regret. But it's so good. Okay. And do I have my soft tools? Let's see, we're going to start with the water on this so I can smudge it into his feathers and not worry about it because I haven't done the feathers yet. I'm going to, I guess this one works. This is dirty from my previous time using it. I've got that orangey color on it. I'm just going to wipe that off onto a paper towel. And what am I doing? I don't need that yet. And as always, you can bid on this. The link is in the video description. Oh, that's what I wanted to talk about. If you want to bid on this and you're having any trouble logging in, I've got two things. One, I didn't realize there wasn't like a log out, easy way to log out on my website. If you need to log out, go to my account, and then it's not in the menu. It's like on that page, there's a thing to log out there. You can do that. But if that doesn't work, message me, email me with your username on the site, and I can send you the reset link. I can't force log you out for some reason, or if I can, I haven't found it yet. Like you have to go in through, it's a whole thing. So anyway, I can send you the reset link, but you need to let me know what your username is on the website for me to do that. Because that was a problem last week, but I've got the pages, like they are open. I am ready to reset anybody's password that you need to quickly this time without me having to take the time to log. I'm already logged in. Like I'm on top of, I'm not really on top of stuff. I'm like halfway up, not on top, but like halfway there. So there we go. Okay. Yeah, let's get started. So I'm going to start with, we've got this kind of teal blue, so I will use my phthalo blue mixed with some phthalo green. I'm going to do that for my background color. Now I'm okay with this being a bit brighter in color, like more color saturation than my reference photo has. So that I am definitely good with. And I just want to make sure that if I have streaks, they are going horizontally, so I'm not doing crisscrosses like that. If some areas end up more green or some oops, I've got the Swan up still. I wanted you to be able to see the palette. If some end up, I'm mixing these two colors. If some end up more green or more blue, it does not matter. Like I don't have to have it perfectly blended or mixed. Now I'm skipping anywhere where the black is going to go because I'm just going to put black over those areas. See how I'm going a little bit over those feathers, not even going to worry about that. I'm just going to let that fade into the background. Now, part of this will get cropped by the mat. Do I have the mat over here? Where's the mat? So I can show you. So you can see it'll be, oh, that's going to be so pretty matted. So that, I am extending the artwork just a bit beyond where the mat is going to go so that I don't have to worry about trying to, like if I mat it and it's a little far to the side and there's like a black edge of the paper showing through, I'm just going to extend all the way to the edge of my tape. See how it's just nice and soft there. Mine's a lot darker than what you're seeing there. Let me see if I can adjust that camera. Always a problem. Let's see. Not that one. Don't think it's that one. I think it's that one. Kinda. Definitely not. Oh, that thunder's going to be loud when it hits. That was a light, real bright spark. Don't get scared, cow. Okay, that looks much better. Let me save that. Okay, and I'm going to put some, pull my reference photo up. Oh, there we go. I'm going to take some white, same brush. I'm not going to clean it or anything. I'm just going to get a few little highlights kind of coming through. And a lot, like most of the detail, I will do that with a colored pencil. So I'm not really worried about that yet. Although the water's not going to have a ton of detail. I just want to get some variation there, going side to side. Now I've got a lot of white and I want that to soften out a little bit. So I'm going to wipe some of that off on my paper towel. And now I'm just going to lightly go over these to blend it. Actually, I lied. Where is my colorless blender? Let me see where I put that. It could be anywhere. I may not be able to easily find it. Ooh, I am going to need these pencil sharpeners though, so we will grab those now. I just saw that colorless blender too, like earlier today. Where did I see it? I hate that. Like I definitely didn't put it where it was supposed to go. I left it out. I just don't know where I left it. Where's the wrong place? Because that's where I should find it. Okay, looks like I am not going to be using the colorless blender because who the heck knows where I put it. I was filming in here today, and so I needed to quickly clean off the workbench, and so I just start shoving things everywhere because, you know, that's the responsible thing to do. I don't know where all those things went. Yeah, I don't know. It's always frustrating too when you know you just had it. Like I just saw that earlier. Yeah, not a clue. Oh well. Okay, so instead of that, I'm just gonna load a bit more blue and green so this flows smoothly. You don't need the colorless blender, but for something like this, it does make the blending super soft and nice. But again, like as you can see, it's still super soft and nice without it. I think the colorless blender, like you can get the same results without it, it just makes it a little bit easier. Now I wanna make sure that blending goes right behind the Swan. I do not want it to look like it just stops partway up his head. Same thing here. Okay, I'm gonna pull a few bits of black. So Erin said, anyone know how I can find specific reference photo images in Patreon? I'm trying to find the military macaw that's grooming. You would have, I don't upload, like you'd have to be a member. So I'm gonna assume that you are to get them, unless it's my brain shut down, a live stream, but that one was not a live stream. That one, either the link is on my website, just go and type in like Lachri.com website, not Patreon, and type in military macaw. I don't think that was a reference photo. What am I doing? Go straight there. A reference photo that was just a free like on YouTube one. So it should be easy enough to find, just to go to, actually, if it's on Patreon, if it's that beginner video, if you go to Lachri.com, go under Patreon videos, go to the colored pencil, scroll through, find out it there, and then it should be attached to the file that, with the video, is where I normally post the images. I'm gonna pull a little bit more blue in here. And then any other details I want, I will do with colored pencil over this. Okay. Yep, that actually works pretty well for this, for the background. Deciding if I want any more whites. I don't think so. I think I'm actually gonna do all of that with colored pencil. Okay, and I'm gonna switch to I need the little triangle type sponge. Same thing, it's dirty from last time, so I'm just gonna wipe that off. And I'm going to start with building up the white. Yeah, Patreon's gotten a lot better too, where you can actually do a search under. Oh, that rain is coming down heavy. If I lose you guys tonight, I'm just calling it and we'll redo this one next week. But hopefully we'll be okay. And I'm just doing straight white here. But Patreon's gotten way better with their search function. I still do every few months go and update the library on my website, because I already have it. So in case Patreon changes it again and makes it hard to find stuff. It used to be such a pain to find what you wanted. You just had to endlessly search. They've definitely made some huge improvements to that platform. Actually, let's hold off on that. I need to, let me see if I've got a second triangle type brush. It'd be nice if I had one for my dark colors and one for the light, but I don't think I do. One of very few times, I wish I had more soft tools. Ooh, I don't know what you're from. Not there. Let me see if I've got any in here. Looks like a big fluffy no. But this little guy could work. It's not as good, but let's try it out. It's still a soft tool. It's a soft tool applicator. Oh wait, let me check one more place. I'm gonna spend the night apparently looking for stuff. Nope. Okay. So this is a soft tool. I don't like it as much because it's a little bit awkward to use because it's flat. Whereas the soft tool, see how you've got that angle? This is easier to not scrape the paper as you're working. These are a little bit harder. I feel like they're a little bit harder to work with. But I need a grayish tone. I'm going to be mixing some grays, some brown, black. I'm just kind of making a muddy mess of different colors. I need more blue in there though. And we've got to get some dark patches back here. Yeah, this one works okay. And I don't care if my lights and darks are in the exact same spot as the reference photo. As long as I'm close, I'm good. And what I'm doing is just kind of making a muddy mix of a grayish. I'm mixing blue, brown, gray, black. There's a lot of variation in the actual shadows, so it doesn't matter that I've got this perfect shadow tone throughout everything. Let's see, as I get down in here, I do get more blue, so I can just lift a little bit more of that. More gray than that. That is too dark. Too gray. Oh my gosh. I say it doesn't need to be perfect, but close would be good. I'm moving the soft tool just in the direction that the feathers are going to go. So they kind of curve that way. I'm going to throw some more blue. Actually, I can grab just light blue and put some of that over it. And this is actually a definite white. We've got white chunks that are going to come through some of that. Hold on 1 second. I want to make sure too, just to check in case somebody messages me about problems logging into the website, because we know we've been having problems with that. And I got a text from Matt. Let me make sure. What is he showing me a photo of? He sent a photo of Nugget, him holding Nugget. I don't know what. Are we having an emergency or? Hold on, let me see what's going on, because he's bringing Nugget with him. Was there something wrong? Oh, why did you send that photo? Oh, I thought you were showing me an injury or something that I wasn't seeing. Oh my gosh, the birds had freaked out when the thunder happened earlier. They don't normally care with noise, but I guess that one kind of spooked them because it was the first one. And so I'm like, he's showing me a photo and he's here, I'll show you what I mean. You guys can see why I was concerned with, like, is that, wouldn't you be like, are you showing me an injury on the bird? What? No, apparently he got in trouble for a bad attitude. So that's, the little guys will hold him like that. And usually I just give him kisses in the belly or whatever. And then they calm down. They're like, oh, fine, I'm not in charge anymore. Oh my gosh, that scared me. French fry got hurt by Sushi last night. He was under when she got covered and she bit, like it's a scratch. It's the equivalent of a skinned knee. Doesn't matter, I'm gonna freak out. And so I'm all worried about injuries. Then French fry decided to fly into a mirror today. It was a whole thing. So I'm just like in this mindset of, oh God, no more injuries. So when he sent me that of Nugget, oh, that scared me. No, apparently Nugget was just having an attitude. Nugget gets mad when I don't go hang out at night. So of course Wednesday nights I miss, and he has a terrible attitude because I bring him French fry. Him and French fry hang out and eat snacks on the floor. I sit on the floor with them and they eat. They're our parrotlets. If you're like, what is this girl talking about? Teeny tiny little parrots. And Nugget gets very upset when I don't go hang out with them at night. So yeah, that was probably where his bad attitude was coming from, and he got in trouble for it. Oh, that scared me. I'm like, please don't be hurt. Please don't be hurt. Okay, that gives us the blues. We've also got some blues in here. We're gonna pull that in, just that grayish base layer. And then we've got to switch up into these cream tones. I'm just gonna use another brush. So it's kind of the, let's say, I'm going to use the, I never get this right. What is this one? Burnt sienna. Burnt sienna and a bit of my raw umber. I think that's what that one is. Yeah, raw umber. And we're going to come right in through here. He's got a brownish cheek. And I'm going to let this go a little bit on the dark side because we'll use the white pencils to pull out a lot of those highlights. Got some brownish tones in through here too. That raw sienna has like a little bit of a glow under some of those feathers, which won't make sense yet. Kind of in between in a few spots. Not so much up top. And we need the orangey beak, so I'll mix the raw sienna and that for the base of the beak. And then the rest of that, let's see, that will, I'm gonna pull a little bit of that orangey tone right along where the white hits. Then we're gonna switch over to the white again. Man, my heart is still like, I thought something was wrong with him. Like that's like my husband's baby. If something happens to Nugget. And then when I heard him screaming, Nugget was chirping the whole way. Well, actually, that could have been French fry. He's probably calling for French fry. But screaming outside the studio door, I'm thinking, oh God, he's bringing him to me to show me, like to get help. No, I'm just over here jumping to conclusions. Don't mind me. Oh, I didn't pull that out far enough. Which brush was that? Too worried about bird injuries. And then part of the wing back there. This is more of a grayish tone, so let's tone that down a little bit. We're not getting to the straight whites there. Okay, so let's now focus a little bit more on some of the white feathers. God, this looks horrible at this stage. I promise it's going to be pretty. Okay. We've got definite, really bright white here. We've got really bright white here on that feather. A few of them in here. And I just want to pay attention to the direction that the feathers are moving in, not the actual details so much. Close is close enough. Like if some of these feathers are not in the same spot, it does not matter. But I do want them going in about the right direction. I want to pay attention to that. I'm going to use this brush just to tone those highlights down. They're not that bright. Not there anyway. See, we've got floof sticking up here. Just letting this kind of blend in with the blue because I want it lighter, just not too light. Okay. Few little, actually, let's go with light blue, not white there. And just see how I'm moving the direction of the feathers where it's curving down this way. I guess the thing he got in trouble for was that he bit Matt. He gets really upset when I'm not in there. I'm supposed to be in there from 8 to 9, and it is after 8, and Nugget is not happy. I'm supposed to bring his friend, and they have their play date every night. Okay, I think we're about ready to switch over to colored pencil, where we'll start refining all of this and pulling this, what looks very sloppy, all together. Couple little things I want to darken here. I know that's what you guys are here for, bird drama. It's very important stuff. Okay, I'm going to call that good with the Pastels. And I'm going to, do I want any more highlights here? Part of me wants to, and part of me just wants to do with colored pencil. I'm torn. You can go either way. Like I can, and you can also come back. Like let's say I do a bunch with the colored pencil and I decide it needs to be softened down. I can come back on top with the Pastels again. They'll stick just fine. So let me switch this out. I'm going to switch this camera off and pull up the reference photo for you guys, since we don't need that camera anymore. Let me deactivate that one. Okay, get a drink of coffee and grab some pencils. Luckily, it sounds like the thunderstorm has passed, at least for now. We're supposed to have it most of the night. I think around 3 o'clock, it just turns to rain. So I'm gonna have a scared cow till then. So I'm bringing out let's see, I've got Polychromos, Derwent Lightfast, Caran d'Ache Luminance, and Derwent Drawing. Probably not going to bother with the Derwent Drawing. I'm not going to worry about those just yet. Okay. And I'm going to start with my, Jason said, what about Lisa drama? I don't have any drama right now. Just the bird drama. The worrying about, like, I hate when animals get hurt. Even if it's just the equivalent of a skinned knee. I feel bad. Okay. That's my only drama right now. I don't have anything. I live a very happy, boring life. Where are there's my Polychromos. I'm going to start with some white. I'm going to use my Pablo white as well. Whoa, I have a Prismacolor very thin. This is old. I might have been using this last week when I thought I was using the Pablo. I bet you I was. No, maybe not, because that one hasn't been sharpened in a while. Wow, where did you even come from? I mean, I still have all my old Prismacolors, but that's funny. Okay, I'm definitely going to need some cool gray. And I've got cold gray number 3. I've got my black. I've got Venetian red for sure. I'll be using that a lot on this guy. Caput-Mortem, of course. I'll use that mostly for shading around the beak, a little bit on the head. And the reason that I'm starting with my Polychromos is these are going to be more, they will sharpen to a finer point, so I'm going to get more detail. Hey, Aline, any baby cow yet? Aline's waiting for a baby cow. It's important stuff. Well, it's adorable stuff, that's for dang sure. Okay, now I want to make sure, because I used phthalo blue and phthalo green, so these are your warmer blue, like it's closer, it's not as close to purple. People argue which direction and if it's warm or cool, whatever. It's more of a greenish blue. I use the more greenish blue and greens in the water, so I want to make sure I do the same with my pencils. I want to pull in stuff that's more of a turquoise. I don't want to pull in more like ultramarine blue because there's no ultramarine blue in the water. That wouldn't be causing that reflection. It just wouldn't make sense here. So I'm going to use that. Let's go with Hilo Blue Reddish. That'll work. Is it the same one? Parisian Blue. That one's a really good one too. I'm just grabbing a bunch of colors. I'm grabbing more colors than I need to, honestly. Pick a blue. You don't need both of those. We'll go with the one that's longer, Parisian Blue. Stop chewing your feet. Let's see. I need a brownish tone. Apparently I didn't put any of the browns where they go. Wow, none of them are where they're supposed to be. Where did I put them? Out here. Hold on. I've got a mess of pencils all over the place. I need to go through and put everything away. Yeah, that's where my browns are. Okay. Van Dyke Brown, that'll work. Let's get started. So I have, oh wait, I forgot to use my Fine Mist sprayer and some Spectrafix to seal down my Pan Pastels. And then we'll use a hairdryer to dry that. Let's lightly mist this. I'm gonna more than lightly mist it. I recommend you actually lightly mist it so you don't get heavy droplets. I know how to fix it, so I don't care if that happens. If you are not in our Discord for Patreon, you are missing out on some cute animals. Lily posted, she's babysitting accidentally babysitting, I think, a full-size cow, and next to her mini cows. It's the cutest photo ever. You should definitely check that out. If you are a member over on Patreon, you get access to our Discord channel, so you definitely want to get in there. It's like a chat where we can just chat all the time about art, books. Oh, I need to tell you guys, I should post what book I've been reading because it's so good. Okay. Let's get started. So I'm going to start with the eye, or around the eye, because that's where I usually start. And we've got, let's see how much the brown shows up. I'm going to test not that much. This will work. Okay, and sharpen. Where did I put the thing to sharpen my pencils? I know I brought it over here. There's the sharpener. Ooh, I lost it. Where did I put it? Is it behind that? Yes, it is. That light is flickering. It shouldn't be. I apologize. Let me see. That seems a little bit better. Let me know if that starts up again. Also, let me desaturate this a little bit. The color saturation is a bit more than what it really looks like. Oh, that's why. Closer to that. Okay. And tea before I get started. Look, I'm switching to decaf. Okay. So for the eye, we're not going to be putting nearly as much detail as what that reference photo has, but we do have a little bit of a highlight there, and I'm using my peach for that. It's actually called Light. This is the old one. It's Light Flesh, which just makes me think zombie. I hate the word flesh. But luckily, apparently they figured out that's kind of a weird word and changed it to something else. I don't know what it currently is. I should probably look that up. We're just going to clean up edges, make sure they're nice and crisp where they need to be. I'm watching where highlights are. And then we've got this really, whoops, dropped my pencil. Oof. Really bright highlight here. And this is what we're focusing on. Where are the bright highlights, getting that contrast in there throughout this entire piece? That's what's going to matter the most. Get those, like, and it looks like it's too much when you look at it just like that, but you need that to get, oh, I didn't pull an orangey tone out. You might not work. I need something a bit brighter. That'll work, I think. And I'm switching over to Venetian Red right under that highlight, and I want to make sure we get that curve. Kind of spoonbill look there a little bit. It's quiet in here tonight. Even the frogs are quiet, weird. Okay, and we've got a little bit of a highlight right on that outer edge here, not too crazy. Okay. Oh, I'm completely missing, let's see. color. That's more of a grayish tone. This might even be too light. The white feathers are down further. Let me sharpen this. So this is cold gray number 3, and it looks like I'm using white. I am very much not. We're going to go to Van Dyke Brown right in here. Got, looks like some wet feathers. This guy must have just taken a dip. Same thing. This is actually the white feathers, but I'm using the gray. Let's see, we've also got more of the gray in here. We've already got that mapped out. And I'm using, this is terracotta for the more golden tones in here. I'm not pushing hard though, because I know I'm going to need several layers over this. Yeah, speaking of reference photos, for those of you on Patreon, or what month is it? God, January photos, I've got some flowers. Actually, some of them are the same type of flowers from last month, but I'll be doing another photo shoot with those. So we'll have a couple of animals, we'll have some flowers. I'm working on those tomorrow. So those will be up by Friday for you. I've got to get the sketchbook challenges for February ready for you guys too. So busy next couple of days. And I'm almost done. I don't know if you can see it behind me. Kind of, you can. There. That painting with the ravens is almost done. We've got a few things I need to adjust on it. And so that lesson will be ready soon. This is Venetian red right on the end there. And I'm going to use black just very, very lightly and let it kind of smudge into the tip there. It's not showing up. Let's switch over to the, I'm calling it peach. And use that to lighten a couple of areas right by the mouth. So it's not just one solid color. We've got some variation in there. And a little bit under the black. Okay, we need a lighter blue. Let's see how dark this is. I might have to switch to an actual light color. Oh no, Windows, you are not restarting. Why do you always try to do that? No. While I'm using it, like, always. Like, what? You're doing something? You're actually live streaming? How about a restart right now? Why? Going over this, what is this one? Cobalt turquoise. I'm not pushing hard at all. Just lightly tinting that color. Get more of that blue in here. Again, just kind of lightly. Think of this more of like a glaze, where I'm just tinting lightly. Lily was saying, I want to do something underwater, would love to go to an aquarium at the zoo to take pictures. I've got some aquarium photos. I'll include some fish photos for this month. I'm just looking at that photo, copying what I see loosely, because again, we're pretty small here. Just a shadow. The feathers aren't actually black there. That's interesting. Aline said, I have a fear of painting underwater, lack of experience, I suppose, but I would love to try one. Underwater's easier, honestly, because there's no fur. Fish are so much easier than animals with fur or feathers. Okay, we've got a super white area right here. It meets that, it comes down. These are the feathers in the wing behind. And I'm going to switch back to the polychromos for the light areas in here because they're not going to be as opaque as my wax-based pencils. And I'm including my Derwent Lightfast as a wax base because in practice they perform, I mean, all of the pencils are some wax, some oil, some everything. When we talk about something being wax or oil, those of you who've been here for very long are like, I'm just tuning out because you say this every week. I know, but not everyone has, and it's important. So, the pencils will list them, or like we talk about as artists them being wax or oil based, but they are all wax and oil and clay and all these different ingredients. When artists refer to something as being wax or oil based, we talk about more in performance. Something that has a higher wax content is typically going to be more opaque and it's going to blend smoother. Something that has a higher oil content, which would be the polychromos, those are going to sharpen to a finer point. They're a harder lead. They're going to hold their point better. They're great for fine detail, but they're also going to be more translucent, which sometimes is what we want, like right now. So that's what we're talking about with wax or oil based. Derwent decided to screw that all up and made one of the best colored pencils, but they call them an oil base. They don't behave even a little bit like an oil base at all. They're a higher wax content. You can tell, like, they're just a much softer lead, and I absolutely love them, so I'm not bashing that. But they are not, I'm just telling you, they are not primarily oil based at all. Wonderful pencil, one of my absolute favorites, but I feel like calling them like it kind of confuses things because I'm always talking about, oh, use a wax-based pencil for more opacity. Even though the Derwent Lightfast says that they're oil-based and they're the most opaque of all. They also blend so much nicer than most others. So yeah, they kind of messed that up. My being able to easily like declare wax-based is this, or is always more opaque. Oil-based is always gonna sharpen to a fire. Yeah. Okay, so I'm just using the white. I'm going to come through and start getting that illusion of little feathers. I am not trying to make them all. I'm just creating like little, they just have to go in the right direction. Let me switch over. Let's see if I can zoom this one in a bit more for you. Where is the mouse? Wrong one. Hold on 1 second. I don't know how well this will go, but let's see if we can get that zoomed in. Oh, and we have, thank you so much, 1SWD, oh, that's a big one too. 1SW, I can't talk, 1SGWW said, snacks for the pooches, they appreciate it. You boys want a super chat? And that's gonna be a big fat yes. Let me grab their back here. Oof. Let's pick out big ones for big super chat. One for you. Oh, there's my finger. There you go. So it's been, I deserved it. It's been a tough night. Thunder is scary. Thank you so much. Okay, go lay down. You can't stay here. Okay. Cal, lay down. Down. Good boy. Gibson, lay down. Gibson. Okay. So what I'm doing, I am not pushing hard, and it looks kind of like squiggles, which in a way it is, but not totally. Actually, let's get that line clean here. So there's that line. I'm going to pull that shadow up just a little bit into the feathers. Okay, and now I'm going to switch back to this guy. Now, a lot of these feathers move in rows, and that is typical of fur and feathers, so we really want to capture that. Jason said, when has it not been hard for you to articulate what you want to say? It was bad today. I was working on the current video and I needed to say that the palette is 1/8 of an inch. I don't know why I couldn't say that it was 1/8 of an inch glass palette or something like that. I could not. I redid that so many times. It was coming out like gibberish every time. But I want to group these as little, see how they're grouping? Now I'm using the polychromos, which again, oil-based, so more translucent. I'm using this white for 2 reasons. One, finer detail, but even more so, it's going to be a little bit translucent, and this is mixing in with the color underneath, so it doesn't actually look white. Ow, that was my knee hitting the easel. It doesn't actually look white, And I also need to adjust the color balance on here because, oh my gosh, that is really, really yellow. Hold on. Whoops, that's not the right button. Yeah, that looks better. Also, we got another, whoops, save that, minimize that. We've got another super chat. Do you boys want another super chat from Tracy? Thank you so much, Tracy. Oh, this fancy, huh? Oh, that looks good. There you go. Good boys. Thank you. The boys definitely thank you. Okay, back to, you can hear crunches probably. Okay, on to this guy. I also want to pull a little bit more of a highlight here. Now, as I get out here, I'm going to push harder. I want that to be more opaque. I'm going to switch over to my Caran d'Ache Pablo. Now, I don't have a full set of Pablo, and that's because I don't really like them. I like them for some things. One, Wade, lay down. Cal, down. Gibson, down. Down. They're like, Mom didn't notice that we weren't laying down. We're just going to do what we want. Where was I going? Oh, Pablo. Pablos are weird. I like them for some things. They are not all light fast, so that's certainly an issue. But they are also, they're very, very waxy, like almost too waxy for most things. But occasionally, the white one is really the main one. If I'm going to use the Pablo, that's usually the one that I will. See, because it's so waxy, it breaks really easy. So I'm always breaking the tip off of that. But I want this to stand out a little bit more, and I'm not using, like, my more opaque pencils would be my Derwent Drawing or my Derwent Lightfast, but those are going to be thicker lead. I want something that's a little bit more refined, and so this is working out really well for me. And it's important that I leave a lot of the dark showing through. I'm not trying to fill this in solid. I want that fluff sticking out over the water a little bit. I am definitely adding a lot more pressure than I was with this area that needed to be lighter. That curves down. Now, this is not in the reference photo, but I always do that when a subject is in water. I'm just going to put little highlights right along the edge because I like how that looks. I'm going to round that out a bit more. And I'll be pulling more highlights into the water anyway. Okay, and then it looks like this comes right under the beak. Make sure that beak is clean. Nice clean edge there. And I'm going to pull with my, I've got Van Dyke Brown. I'm just going to pull a few little chunks that are a bit darker. And then as we get in here, we've got that lighter blue. So I'm going to switch over to, actually that's not good. Let me see if I've got a light blue that will work better. Yep. This is cobalt turquoise, light cobalt turquoise, which is the lighter version of what I had. Perfect. And this is going to come straight down here, and it'll start curving up the neck. And I'm going to work with the little feathery marks I had already made. Make some of them a little bit thicker. Now this area, I need to get a nice glow in there. That is a really, it's way too dark. So let's start with the peach. See if that, nope, I don't like how bright that is. Let's see with the terracotta. Nope, I'm going to need to switch to something that is more opaque. So either a Caran d'Ache, ooh, that one looks good. Let's see how this is. This is Caran d'Ache Luminance. This is brown ochre 50%. That looks like it'll work for me. And I want something that stands out. I need that glow with the light right on that transition. And if you're ever looking at your colors and you're like, well, how do I know which color? I don't know. I just went and grabbed one and thought, does this work? Tried it. It didn't. Put it down. Tried another one. Don't be afraid of trying a few different things. And it's always a good idea to have a scratch piece of paper next to you that you can test on too, if you're afraid of messing up your actual piece. But the thing that you want to really focus, oh, this is great. The thing that you really want to focus on are your values. Are your lights light enough, your darks dark enough? That is what's going to make your work look more realistic, not having the perfect shade, the perfect color. When you can get over the idea that the perfect color is what's going to make your work look realistic, your work will suddenly start looking more realistic. But a little bit of a highlight there. You've got to focus on your values. Lights and darks are what matter more. I'm pushing pretty hard right here. I want that to stand out a lot more. Now, I like to make mine stand out a little bit more than what the reference photo has, play up my lights and darks better. Now, if any of this doesn't feel bright enough to me, I can come back through with my touch-up texture, titanium white mixture from brushandpencil.com, which also sells on Blick, and I can paint those white highlights, and it's still archival with these materials. Okay, let's see. I'm going to switch back over to that brown ochre, and we're going to just get some highlights in there. Again, watch the direction of those feathers. This is more solid. We're not doing a bunch of little things in here. And if I go too dark or too light, no big deal. It's really easy to darken it back up with the brown. So we've got the Van Dyke brown. And I'm going to pull more into this shadow. Kind of going in between those highlights that I previously did. We have from Marie said, thank you for your recent critiques and suggestions on a work in progress. Oh, thank you so much. Look, they're already here. They're just like, oh, you made the happy sound. Now back off. Back, 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 back. No one can see your cute faces when you're that close. Thank you so much. One for you. One for you. That's very tasty, huh? Thank you. You two need a bath. They, from being in the rain and then coming in, they do not smell, they do not smell fresh. But it's too cold, and I give them baths outside. So, yeah, we're going to have to wait on that, unfortunately. Gibson down. But that water did not help their situation. We've got a little more of a highlight here. I'm not pushing very hard, just kind of focusing on the lights and darks. Here I'll push harder, they stand out a lot more. This is definitely getting a bit too light in here. I'm going to use my turquoise and just tone that light area down. So those feathers are white, but because they're in shadow, we don't want to leave them that light. The color is showing this more blue than it is in person. This is actually white. I can't fix the camera to get that to work right, so I apologize. I'll see what I can do in a bit. Okay, let's just start working our way around. So here we've got these definite shapes that I want to define, and I am pushing very hard on those. Now, anywhere where I push hard, I'm not going to be able to easily get other layers on top because I flatten the tooth of the paper. So you want to make sure where you push hard is only where, like, those are your final layers. You know you're not putting a bunch on top of that. Again, just kind of little, not squiggles isn't the right word, little shapes that are going in the right direction for the feathers, but I'm not sitting there counting how many feathers are going each direction or trying to perfect that. And I'm going to throw the pencil down. A little bit of this glow from the brown ochre. A couple of spots. Oops, I've got too many pencils in my hand because I keep dropping them all. Oof. I can't bend down and pick up a pencil without making the old lady sound. It is impossible. some more of the turquoise. Actually, where's the Prussian blue, which I'm probably mispronouncing, but whatever. Go back to figuring out where my general shapes are. Let's see, you are there. So you came this way, you come this way. I just want to focus on this general area. So a few of these like really clean edges, even though they don't need to be exact, go in the right direction though. Be close. I feel like it gets easier to have that like, oh, it's close enough attitude when you've done a subject or you've like done feathers a few times. It's not so scary. When you're new to it, it's pretty normal to be like, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know where to put different things. That definitely comes with time. Don't let it frustrate you thinking, I'm never going to get, I'll never know which ones to use. It always feels that way in the beginning. Or which shapes to not worry about, which ones to make exact. That gets way easier. The only way you get through that is to paint and draw more. Let's go with more of the blue. I'm really looking at these as abstract shapes, not so much as feathers. Let's see, this part of the head will come down a bit further that way. Just correcting some of the shape I originally had. Make that mine a bit darker in here than the reference photo has. Just let that shadow like kind of push that back some. I've got that dark, I'm just going to call it dark blue. I can pronounce that. Whichever dark blue you went with is fine. This curves around. And now this starts getting darker with the brownish tone, so I'm going to switch to terracotta for this instead of the brown ochre, which is much brighter. I don't want to go too crazy with that. Where's the light blue? Pull the darker blue now. Right around some of those and in between them. I'm not just going over everything. I'm just kind of, I keep refining. I start out with everything pretty sloppy and then I just keep layering and cleaning it up a little bit more, cleaning it up a little bit more. Now these are much softer than the frumpy wet ones up here. Okay, so we're getting into these feathers here. We've got the outer edge is a little bit more defined. Not crazy, not tons of feathers there, but I'm going to use the light blue, which is still technically too light. I'll have to come back through with the dark blue too. Sounds like the rain's coming down again. So as I get into these bigger ones, this one I'll start paying a little bit more attention to the actual shape of feathers versus just the like general movement that we had down here. These ones will start getting cleaned up, but they're still not as like super high contrast. We'll want to push those back a little bit. Right now it's too much with the definite lights and darks. I'm not using that one at all. Let's put you away. Edges of that feather, and I will certainly be taking some artistic liberties on these feathers. Again, that's another thing that just gets easier if you're like, well, how do I know which artistic liberties to take? The more you paint and draw, the more you have to experience certain things. So follow your lessons. That certainly is going to help and speed things along. But also just the more you sketch, the more you draw, the more everything, like you'll just get to where you're a little bit more brave and trying and experimenting. One of the things I really like for experimenting with is digitally painting. So if you've got like an Apple iPad, or Nick can let you know what program he likes for that. I use Art Rage on my Android, my Samsung, something that has a digital pen and I can paint and draw on. Learn digital painting is so great because you just don't feel like you're wasting supplies. If you're like, I wonder what it would look like if I made this area really bright, if I hyped up the contrast, you can try all that digitally without feeling like you're going to mess anything up because you've got an undo button. There's so many benefits to learning to do things and experiment digitally. I think that you can progress a lot faster if you play with those digital tablets, and you don't have to go crazy, because it used to be that in order to really mess around with digital much, you had to get a Wacom tablet, and those are horribly expensive. So you don't really have to do that anymore. You can get great results. Like, I really like the work that I've gotten with my Samsung. And I've got a Wacom tablet, and I still half the time now, more than half the time, I just really like working on the Samsung tablet. But it's great for experimenting because you're not feeling like you're wasting something or permanently going to mess anything up. And that's such a big fear. The fear is really the thing that holds most artists back, that fear of messing up their work. Like, it looked good before. I wish I hadn't done such and such because it looked so much better before. Well, if it looked so great before, you wouldn't have kept working on it, so I don't think you messed anything up anyway. But even you're going to have layers you don't like as much. You have to be willing to experiment and try things like that might go horribly wrong in order to progress. But if you're too afraid to do that, that's really holding you back. And that's what holds most artists back, is that fear from what holds them back from experimenting. But the experimenting is what makes you learn new things. You just get so much better. Procreate, that's what Nick likes for his Apple. Weird Apple fans. I'm using my Van Dyke Brown on some of these feathers now. Toning some of that down. I get a little bit of shading in here. Probably going to soften some of this out with my, what are the words I'm looking for? Pastels again. Start getting these more frayed little feathers here. Now, I'm not done. I'll come back and touch a lot of this up. I'm just kind of working my way through, cleaning different areas up. Let's skip up to the really bright ones up here now. Little frayed ends. Let me know, those of you who are on Patreon, if you want to see a really detailed Swan in colored pencil. That might be a fun lesson. I would probably still make it surreal somehow, but if we want to do like the really detailed feathers and make it look super, super like photorealistic, let me know. If there's enough interest, I will definitely do that. I've got to do a colored pencil lesson coming up soon anyway for you guys. I'm finishing up the acrylic painting lesson, the ravens, and then I've got to do a horse and oil paint for my tax lady, and then I've got to do something in colored pencil, but I haven't settled on what the colored pencil project is going to be, so that is still technically open. But after doing the Swan, I kind of want to do like those super detailed, like every little feather exact, or pretty close to exact. These ones are the fluff on his back. So we're going to switch over to a light blue. I've got to fix, this is not showing. Let me change this again. Let me see if I can get that camera a little bit better. I need to get the brightness up. It's too blue. Oh, too much brightness. That's much closer. Let's go with that for now. This has been a hard one to keep it looking semi-accurate. Erin wants a realistic swan. Get a few requests there, so yeah. We can, I'll start looking for, I've found some really pretty photos, but some of them were ones that were like, that's gonna take too long, but I'd love to do a swan that is also surreal, but also colored pencil. So I will start working on what that one, that'll be coming up soon then for Patreon. And there will be a version of it for YouTube as well. See how I just keep picking a spot and then making it a little bit closer to that reference photo? Most of this gets chopped off by the mat. Oh, I haven't checked. I was supposed to check in case anyone messaged me about. No, it looks like no one's having problems with the website. I am getting notifications about weather though. I like how I keep getting the notifications. Rain's gonna start in 15 minutes. Rain hasn't stopped. Like I can hear it. What do you mean it's gonna start in 15 minutes? It's currently going. That gets cut off over there. And let's pull just the hint of my brown ochre back there, just light tan color. Now I'm getting to a point where I'm not going to depend as much on the reference photo because like I said, I can only get so detailed on something this size. So it's really I'm going to start picking out areas that I think would make mine look better given the smaller size. Some of those we want toned down a little bit, so I'm going to take peach over so it's not quite so white. Not all of it. Some of it needs gray, some of it needs the brown. We've got to get variation. We need to make sure the darks are dark enough that the lights look really, really light. This is the fun part to me because we've kind of moved from the, wow, that looks absolutely terrible, into this is where it starts to look good. This is where we start working on adjusting values and just making everything look really nice. So I'm using blue. You know what I would love in this one? I want purple. I don't care if it calls for it. It's just going to look so pretty. And I want my Derwent Light Fast purple. No one's surprised. Is that what's actually in this? I think that's purple. I think it is. It's short enough. I don't have the name on it anymore. Oh, that looks good. Okay, this is an absolute yes for me for the shadows. I'm going to start pulling those in more, and I want to make sure I'm working within the little clumps of feathers in there. And remember I said earlier, I like to hype up the contrast a bit, so I'm going to make my darks a little darker, lights a little, well, the lights white is as light as that's going to get. But we're definitely going to start pulling some of this in. Oh, I love it. This is what I needed for that. I'm going to pull this in lights and darks all over the place. Same thing, I'm still paying attention to the direction, even though I'm adjusting the colors and the values and all of that and kind of making my own up. I still want to pay attention to the direction that those feathers are going. And I'm largely working with the shadows that I've already got. I'm not like inventing new spots for them. I'm just darkening up what's there. If you only get one Derwent Light Fast color, get the purple. Oh my gosh, this is just like, it's a must-have for me. I mean, I like the whole set, but my gosh, that color. Use that peach. Defining a few more of those feathers in there a little bit. Back years ago, when I used to do commissions, I had a lady, she'd ordered several from me, and this woman ended up being I can't say that. She was nuts. Nutso is the word we're gonna go with. But like nutso, not just with me, she got nuts with a lot of people. But anyway, she had ordered several things, and I kept letting her add on because she had always paid me in the past. But she was getting more and more bizarre. Like her husband would call me to thank me for being his wife's friend, and it's like, that's weird. You have a history of some issues, huh? Talk about red flags. But anyway, she had ordered, she wanted swans, and she wanted them to be, she wanted a black one and a white one, and she wanted a certain background. Like, it was weird. It was ugly. And I photoshopped it for her so she could see how ugly her idea was. She wanted it, but she never paid for it. Well, it turned out her husband didn't like it because her husband apparently had better taste than she did. I mean, besides having married her. Oh, that's mean. But anyway, she never did pay, and in the end, she flipped out on me because apparently I don't know, something, she had like knee surgery or something, and I didn't treat her like she was on her deathbed, and that upset her. I didn't say, like, I was working. I don't know what she wanted me to do. But she ended up wanting her money back for the swans or put it towards something else that was good. I'm like, lady, you were the one who wanted those ugly swans. Those were terrible. I didn't like them from the beginning. But yeah, moral of that story, get a contract because, or have a contract because, I mean, I had emails and messages, so I wasn't like, didn't really matter. I just, yeah, she did not, she had paid a deposit, that's what it was. She never paid fully for the swans, but she had given me a deposit, and she wanted her deposit back. And I'm like, wait, 9 months after I painted them, you said you loved them, I have records of all of this, now you want your money back because your husband didn't like it, and you're mad at me because I didn't treat you like survived a miraculous knee surgery. That was a bizarre one. Always get a deposit. Oh, Aline said from Abigail to the sweet boys, and pistachio for French fry. French fry will definitely get a pistachio later. Do you guys want a super chat? Wade, you're licking your lips. Did you actually want one, or where were we going with that? Thank you so much, Aline. But yeah, make sure what, even if you think somebody's your friend or like you're friendly with them, get a deposit if you're worried about not. I wouldn't have thought she wasn't going to pay when I started the paintings because she had always paid before. But when she went kind of nutso, lay down, 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 down. She got mean. She was rude. She thought she could bash me enough to ruin my name, and I'm going to tell people you did this. And I'm like, I have like, what are you talking about? I have records of all of our conversations. But I had other artists contacting me, telling me what she was saying about me, and it was wild. You had a woman who went from like thinking I was the best thing ever to mad because I didn't pay her enough attention after a knee surgery that was apparently life-threatening, and I didn't realize it. It wasn't. Wild. People are interesting. I don't know why I shared that story. Oh, because that was the last time I painted a swan. I think it was the last time. Using caput mortem just a little bit to tone that down here. We're going to pull caput mortem into some of the feathers. I'm going to pull some darker blue into these feathers, into some of the darker shadows. And then this area over here needs to be softened up a lot. I think I'm going to be doing that though. I think we're going to use pan pastels for that. Let's grab the pan pastels again. It's easier to soften them with those than to keep working over it with a colored pencil. And then I'll end up spraying the pan pastels over it again. Elaine said, people are crazy. How does one sleep at night acting that way? Well, in her case, she was convinced I was this big bad person for not worshiping her knee surgery or something. I don't know. It was wild. But yeah, she sleeps at night because she thinks she's a permanent victim of everybody else. Turns out she doesn't have any of the same friends. No one was able to stay friends with her because she was the way she treated people. But she doesn't see it as a her problem. She sees it as an everyone else problem. So it was a thing. Point is, luckily, I had the deposit and I kept the paintings. I gave them to somebody else that somebody I didn't like, actually. Funny story. But yeah, they were not good. And that's one of the things you have to watch. I'm going to use a more grayish tone. I'm just going to soften these feathers. That's one of the things that you have to watch when you're taking commissions. Is, a lot of their ideas are terrible. And even though I photoshopped it so she could see it was a terrible idea, no, she wanted it. She loved it. Okay, but you're going to have to pay a deposit. And luckily, that deposit, I did get a deposit from her, just not, it was only $100 I used to take back then for all my deposits. I'm going to make some of these a little bit darker. But that's why it's important, even if it's somebody who you've worked with before and you think it's safe. I did not think that was going to go as south. She was just she was one of the customers who liked to be very, very involved, and that was fine. Very involved in the design of paintings. She had gotten, I mean, she really had ordered quite a few from me. She must have 5 different paintings for me, like custom stuff. But she really liked to be involved in the planning, and no matter what it was that I did, she would want to change it for the sake of changing it because she thought the whole process was fun. So, which I get, but that's also why when you take commissions, you need to make sure you have a limited amount of changes you're willing to do, because you will have people like she was, and this wasn't her being rude or anything like that. She was having fun with that aspect, and so I understand. But you also need to make sure you do have a limit on how many changes you're willing to make. I will make one change for free, like one thing, especially if it's something where I didn't realize the color was a little off from the reference photo they provided me, because you get a difference in monitors and such. I'll change that. But if it's, no, what if you change, like the one of hers had a shelf. You know, what if you change this type of tree to that type of tree? What if you added a ring to the shelf? What if you changed it, like major changes? Then we're gonna have to, you have to charge, because some people just have a lot of fun with the aspect of being artsy. Like, it makes them feel artsy. which is cool. Like, that is not a complaint by in any means when somebody does that. It's just that they will. So as an artist, you need to make sure they know after a certain amount of changes, it costs such and such amount. Like, include that. I'm just softening some of these feathers up, making a few of the bright ones a little bit brighter. Someone's going to be like, oh my gosh, you shouldn't talk bad about your clients. 100%. Do not tell stories about past bad clients. I don't take commissions anymore, so I don't really care. That's why I'm sharing the stories with you. But if you are somebody who takes commissions, never, ever, ever post online complaining about, even though you're completely in the right, never post online complaining about a client or a customer. Oh my gosh, because it makes people go, I don't want to hire them. What if they talk about like that about me? I don't want people telling stories about me because you like, that's a normal, never badmouth customers publicly, unless you no longer take commissions like I do. Then I get to tell you all the fun, crazy stories that I've had to deal with. There actually hasn't been that many issues. I've had a few crazy stuff. Like, I remember one lady, I've told this before, one lady had contacted me. She got my information and my number from the church, and she wanted to, this is years ago, she wanted me to paint like this super detailed photo of Jesus walking on, this is for her daughter's bedroom wall. Super detailed photo of Jesus walking on the water and the waves crashing and all this. And it sounds like a cool painting for like $3,000, but she wanted to pay about $20, maybe $50, maybe. You know, that's where you get a lot of funny stuff. That one's one of my funny stories. People just don't realize how much work goes into the paintings. They think that artists are like some kind of quick magician. And I guess if you see a video like this, you're like, wow, you got that done really fast. You can paint anything fast. There's a difference. This is a 5x7 versus a huge detail, you know. But yeah, that was always, I've seen that a lot though, where artists are taking commissions, but they'll regularly bash clients. Like, I remember one, and I see that, not just one, I've actually seen this multiple times where the artist got sick, and so she couldn't get the work done. And trust me, I get sick all the time. Or I used to, because my immune system used to be so bad. And so she couldn't fill her commission order in time by what she said. It kept getting pushed back. And she's like, it's not my fault. It's not my fault. I was sick. And it's like, the customer doesn't care though. When the customer is on like, I want this as a gift, or I want to give that to a certain thing, they don't care what reason you have that you couldn't meet your deadline. And that's a really important thing. I'm just rambling about business advice now while I work and do touch-ups. So we'll go ahead and do that. But a lot of people, I'm just doing some highlights here and there. A lot of people, where was I going with that story? What was I talking about? There was something. I was going somewhere with that. Oh, the deadlines and such. A lot of people will complain when a customer has a legitimate complaint. And I feel like all artists need to have worked customer service at some point to understand what are legitimate, like what's a legitimate customer complaint versus they're just complaining because they complain about everything and return everything. I've seen a lot of artists, though, make public complaints about that. And it's like, it makes the viewer, as somebody who's not involved in the situation, very uncomfortable. So like even me, when I was telling you the story about the bad customer, were you kind of like, oh, I wouldn't hire you to do a custom thing. What if you badmouth me? Exactly. This is why you don't want to. You should never, ever, ever, if you take commissions, ever complain about customers publicly. But I've seen that a lot where I was sick and a customer was complaining and I'm like, ooh, that makes you look like the bad guy, not them for complaining that you weren't getting your work done in time. Also, when you take commissions, make sure you overestimate how long it's going to take you to finish something. If you think it's going to take you 2 weeks, tell them a month. If you get done early, great. But that gives you time. If you get sick, if you have a family emergency, your car broke down, whatever, it doesn't impact when their expectation to have that artwork done was. So always overestimate to your clients how long it's going to take you to get something done. That way they're not super unhappy with you for taking too long. See, right now, all of the details I want are just these super soft look, and that's why I've switched back over to my pan pastels, because I don't want the sharp details. This is just softening that down. I've got a light blue on these, some gray. It's kind of muddy. It's got all kinds of colors on the back of that. Yeah, and usually too, the other thing you'll see, if you badmouth a customer publicly, you're going to have a lot of people, your core friends, are going to stand up for you and they're going to go, oh my gosh, I can't believe they did that. You're so right. The silent are the majority. The people who never respond to your comment, your post, but still see it, those are actually the majority, and you're making them really uncomfortable when you complain or badmouth a customer. It's still funny that I'm giving you that advice after I just did the exact same thing. But like I said, I don't take commissions anymore, so it doesn't affect me. But if you want to get those sales, do not be badmouthing people. See how it just softens that, but I still have the detail. Just kind of dabbing a little bit here and there. Use something a little bit smaller to soften that out some. And this again is that stage where I'm just looking at what will make mine look better. It doesn't need to look exact like the reference photo. The Pan Pastels, one of the things that's so great, one of many things, I could go on forever about all the amazingness of Pan Pastels, but they're super opaque. Look how well they go over all of what I've just done, but it softens that out. I love this stage of art. I could just sit and work on these final bits for way too long because it's so like satisfying to do. I want to pull, where's my white? Again, you can bid on this. The link is in the video description. If it doesn't let you log in, let me know and I can send you a reset password thing. Seems to be the solution. I'm going to make some of these a little bit sharper with the white. I also wanted to add a little bit to the water too, so we'll come back and do some there. But that high contrast with the light and the dark, this is what what really is going to make things look realistic. Obviously, I did not get the, I'm not quite done yet, but I did not get the same amount of detail. It's the lighting. Are your darks dark enough? Your light's light enough? That's what we're really focusing on. We've got a super chat from Pauline. So time for a pup snack. Do you guys want a super chat? Thank you so much. The boys definitely thank you. Oh, snort. There you go. Oh, you get it? Thank you, Pauline. Okay, so let's focus. I want to get a little bit more on the contrast. And I'm still going to work with the Pan Pastels because I'm liking the softness that I'm getting with that. Boys, lay down. 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 Cow. Down. Stop ignoring me and lay down. Bad cow. He's like, meh, I just do what I want. Down. Both of you, what is this? No one is listening to me. Good boys. Finally, eventually. Slowest race dogs ever. I want to darken that area up quite a bit. Mixing black and blue, a little bit of gray, dabbing some of it off so that it's not too dirty. Or too dark, I should say, not dirty. So how many of you were scared with how bad this looked in the beginning layers? You always, they start out going through these super ugly stages, but you just keep layering, keep working on it. I'm going to make my blue a little bit more bold on a couple of these spots, just because I think it's really pretty. And I'm going to pull a little bit more. We'll mix some white and some raw sienna. Just remember, when you go back over with the pan pastels like this, spray it again with Spectrafix before you finish, like mat it and frame it. Ooh, that rain is really coming down now. Okay, do a couple highlights with the water, and I'm going to call this guy done. I can use the blues that I did earlier. Just creating a little bit of rippling in there. I don't want a lot. Just a little bit more definition than what I had. Now, right now, see how it looks like this stops right here? It doesn't quite go behind the swan. Pull that right up to the beak. Make sure you don't end up with a gap where it looks like the background doesn't go behind the subject. I'm going to do up there. I want that to stay pretty out of focus. I mean, if you want it to look like there's sparkles in the water, take white, just put a couple of, I'm going to go with more opaque. Let's use the Pablo. A couple of white dots. Don't put the dots, the super shiny ones back there. If you do, you want to go with a bokeh look. Don't do the harshness here, because we're trying to let that look like it fades out in the background. Notice when I put groups of dots, I'll do them in 3s or 2s, but they'll kind of go in a row. Okay. Maybe a little bit more white in a couple of spots. I know I need to move on to the Q&A. I'm just having so much fun. This is so satisfying. Now, one of the reasons I like Spectrafix so much versus a lot of the other fixatives for pastels or pan pastels is that it does not darken your colors. And that was always a problem when I worked in I used to work with normal pastel, like pastel pencils years ago, and before I got weirded out by the dry feel. And every time you missed it, it makes everything super dark, and you have to go back over everything with your lights. And then you miss it again, and it's all super dark. Spectrafix doesn't do that. And that is the main reason that I personally stick with Spectrafix over anything else for spraying my pastels or pan pastels. And it can go over your colored pencils too. Okay, I think I'm calling this guy done. I am pretty happy with how this one came out. Oh, it's pretty. Okay, let me show you what that looks like. Oh, I have to sign it too. Let me sign it really quick. Where's the mat? So we know where to sign it. Since that will get chopped off. Oof. Oh, I like this guy. You know what? I want to tone that feather down though, because that pulls the viewer right. Even though it is that light, I think it pulls the viewer off the page too much. Let's darken that end. There we go. I'm okay with it being there. I just didn't want it that white going off the edge there. I want to be down a little bit lower like that. Okay, I'm going to sign with this guy. That feather's kind of in the way, so we'll just sign right along here. When I put the paper there, or the mat, so I know where it's going to be, I'm actually went way down low here. It's mostly the top that gets chopped on this one. But otherwise, my signature would likely get cut off. Okay, so let me pull it over here so you can see in this lighting, which is usually a lot more accurate. There we go. There is the finished Swan. Yay, that was so much fun. I love, love, love getting that more simplified look when you've got something that's tons of detail, but also has like so much contrast. So nice. This looks a little bit more of a purpley blue. In person, it's more of a teal blue for sure. Okay, and again, if you are in the US and you want to bid on that, head over to lachri.com. Link is in the video description for the actual one. If you can't get into my website, email me, lisa@lachri.com, or if you want to let me know your username here, I can reset your user or your password, and it should let you go ahead and log in after that. Ooh, there's still coffee. It's cold, but it's good. I mean, there's just not bad coffee. Oops, that is not what I wanted. Okay, so we've got our Patreon question, or not Patreon questions, Discord question. Words are so hard. Our actual questions. Here we go. No, we don't. There we are. Okay. Oh, not many questions tonight. Oh, we're going to be staring at each other awkwardly at this rate. Oh, why is this happening? There we go. Aaron said, have you ever tried a thunder vest for the cow? Parents had one for the last dog. He used to get really nervous and hide in dark closets. You know, I haven't. I have enough ace bandages though, and those do the same thing. I should try that on him. I haven't lately. He hasn't really gotten that scared. You give him some treats, he'll want to lay in the room with me, but he's fine. Earlier was right before the live stream started, was the first time I saw him scared enough that he was actually like trying to get under the easel. He has not done that in years. Normally what I do is every time thunder hits, he knows to come get me and he gets a treat for it. So he starts associating it as being positive instead of something to have a meltdown about. He had meltdowns before. I should have done the ace bandage thing on him. I never tried it. But I have enough ace bandages here. I could try that on him. I mean, he's fine. He's obviously fine now. He's not too terribly upset. But that is a good suggestion. The ace bandages work too. The thing with the thunder shirt, I had one for my Italian one of my Italian Greyhounds was afraid of everything. It didn't help her any more than she just liked to wear clothes. Clothes always made her feel safer, like sweaters or whatever. It didn't matter what it was. But yeah, I should try that with him though. Good suggestion. Aaron also said, I'm using my old stock Prismacolors with Arteza Pro pencil similar to Prisma and a few polychromos. There's a lot of wax buildup and I find viewing in photos hard. Any tips? So I don't know with the Arteza ones. I know those are, you know, your cheap Chinese crap. But that does not mean you can't make absolutely beautiful things. They're just not light fast, so do know that. But with Prismacolor, when I used to have a hard time with Prismacolors getting that wax buildup, you can take like Viva paper towel, an old t-shirt is normally what I used, and kind of wipe that off. Be careful because it can smudge things. So you wouldn't want to like wipe an area that was really dark up against an area that's really light because you will smudge that. But you can wipe and remove a lot of that wax buildup that way. Just be careful, like don't scrub super hard because like I said, you can cause some smudging. And then Prismacolor used to make, and I don't know if they still do, they used to make a spray that would help, like it was your finished top coat varnish type thing that would minimize the wax to like the wax wouldn't keep building up after that. Because even after you wipe it down with the t-shirt, it will come back. But by wiping it with, or spraying that would prevent that. You know, if you're blending with OMS, that helps to minimize it to an extent. It's still gonna happen, but that also helps some. So that can be something you can try. But yeah, look and see if I don't know if they still make it, but they had one that would prevent that wax buildup from continuously happening once you were finished. The thing is, because you're using the Arteza, you need, and even with the polychromos, you need to test it on those because I do not know if they play nice. Not all varnishes work well with all brands of colored pencil. And it's not to say that that varnish is bad or the pencil is bad. The chemical makeup on some of them just don't play well. So do like a little test. If you're going to do that, do a test using those exact same pencils and spray a varnish, a top coat, and see if it works well. I want to say it was polychromos. Someone used something on them. I could have it wrong. This was so many years ago, and it ruined the artwork. The varnish just had such a bad reaction to it, so that's why you always want to check on a test thing. But those are typically the ways that you would fix that. Teresa said, you can do pastels over colored pencil. Did not know that. Yep. Always thought it was base layer. So if you're using a water-based product like watercolor, you wouldn't put watercolor back over colored pencil because they're wax and oil based. But these are no problem. They work great. Lightly said, have you ever used pastel sticks like Pan Pastels for blurry backgrounds? Yes, when I was younger, I used to use them a lot, but they freak me the heck out. Like the dry, chalky feel, I can't handle it. Like heebie-jeebies, skin crawling, meltdown. I have issues. But I can hold baby spiders, no problem. Pastels, meltdown. So I actually had a smart art box years ago, and I was like, oh, I'm so glad it was pastels. I'm going to see if I can get myself over it. It's in my head. Obviously, it's in my head. But it's in my head. I can work through this. I couldn't. I kept having to wash my hands when it would get on them and put lotion on them, which is not ideal when you're working with pastels. Like, it was freaking me out. And people say, well, just wear gloves. Those freak me out. Like, I hate the feel. Like, I mean, I wear gloves when I work in the yard, but to work with art and to be wearing gloves that I find to be super uncomfortable anyway, I have issues, and pastels are one of them. So yeah, unfortunately, I don't do it. You can do it, and it can look amazing, but if you have issues like I do, it doesn't work. Let's see. Deborah said, I was scared to see all the feathers. He's gorgeous. I want to try. Yeah, those were definitely scary going into it. But see how, and even when I'm zoomed in, it looks softer than it does on the camera, but it's blotchy, and that's okay. I mean, look with my hand. I mean, this is not very big. It looks big on the screen, but it is not a big piece. That is what is something else? I mean, when you look at like the size of a pencil sharpener, that is not a big piece. You're going for blotchy and just high contrast with those feathers. So yeah, it's, Jason said, do your issues have issues? My issues stress about things that my other issues were stressing about, which causes more, it's a whole stress cycle. Actually, that camera shows much better. The other one looks a little bit too blotchy, but you can see, like, yeah, those definitely came out. I am really happy with that guy. Let's see. Deborah says, my eyes get dry. I wake up with really dry. I sleep with my eyes open. I shouldn't tell people that because it's super weird. I sleep with my eyes open. Not on purpose. It's just I have since I was a baby. Used to freak my mom out because, like, I've always, I don't know why, they start out closed. I wake up, or I don't wake up, I'm asleep, but they're open. I wear an eye mask. I have a Manta mask. It works pretty good. It helps, but they still, like, oh, my eyes are, it takes me a while for them to not be super dry. It is terrible. Let's see. Erin said, do you use this paper when you're doing straight pencils, or are you using this paper because you're also using pastels? That's a good question. Depends on what mood I'm in. Usually I use it when I'm working with pastels because it has a little bit more tooth. You can use it with straight pencils, but if I'm going to do straight pencils with blending with OMS, I'm going to work with a hot press watercolor paper. Arches hot press is my favorite. So those, yeah, I like this best if I'm going to use pan pastels. You can't, like I said, you can use it with both, but like when I do the Swan, the super detailed Swan I'm talking about, if I come up with a surreal idea for him, and by surreal, I mean maybe I'll include roses. I don't know. I don't know what it's going to be. Just not simply the Swan, but whatever it's going to be, I'll probably work on a large. It'll probably be a big project because I've been into big, huge projects that take forever lately. But I'm thinking maybe an 11 by 14 inch. So, you know, on the bigger side for colored pencil, and a hot press watercolor paper is what I will likely go with. I could really push and go with 16 by 20. We'll see what the design is. Art by MB said, how do you decide what paper color to use for what piece? I noticed you like dark paper. Is that a personal choice? Yeah, totally personal choice. This, I knew I was going to leave a lot of the black showing through. I mean, you can see, let's pull it back up. A lot, like this is basically all black. Look at all the dark. While I did pull some darks, a lot of that is just the paper poking through, and I just like that look. I also really like the bluish gray ones. Gray, I love when I leave the gray paper showing. I just love gray backgrounds. So yeah, it depends on basically what color do I want peeking through. So I can be lazy and let that show instead of having to do the work and fill it in with colored pencils. Art by Envy said, for the bestest boys. Do you hear that? They called you bestest. I don't know. You didn't want to lay down last time. Was that bestest? Okay, bad cow. Come on, Gibson. You can get a super chat. Thank you so much. Oh, you got all the treats tonight. So tasty. Okay, seriously, you two need a bath so bad. Okay, let's see. Stacy said, when doing a themed art piece, do you still give the piece a title, or is the title the theme title? What do you mean by themed? I'm not sure what you mean by themed. Like, what do you mean by themed? I need more information. Lay down. I name everything, unless the only time I don't really name it is if it's like a celebrity and I just, this one's James Marsters, you know, that sort of thing. Lay down, down. Oh, I just aged myself a lot with that one, huh? I think he still acts though on like Sci-Fi Channel or something. So yeah, unless it's that, anything else I would title that's like actually my original artwork, I always come up with the title. I mean, and one of the reasons that I don't know the names of half my stuff. Very few things do I remember the name of. Like, I remember The Art of War because it was named after an Amberlin song I liked. Like, that's where it came from, and it also fit for that painting. So like, occasionally I'll remember a name. Usually I don't remember. I have to go onto my print website and see whatever I named it at the time. Like, I'm like, oh, that name sounded cool. So yeah. They're so good. They're both, oh, I wish you can't really see. They're looking at me. Their heads are down, but both of them have their eyes looking up at me with sad puppy eyes. Like, I can't believe you made me lay down. Call me back from retreats. Let's see. Jason said, LOL, when do you not age yourself, right? Let's see. Stacy said, themed art is, oh, Valentine's Day. Like what love got to do. That would be funny. That's a good name for one. That is what you should name anything Valentine's themed. Yes, themed, like holiday themed. Yes, I also name those for sure. And maybe the theme is simply Finch. I don't know. Although that could be a name. That's a band. It's actually a good band. Oh, I aged myself again. So yeah, I would still name it. Because like when I fill out, let's say Fine Art America, which is where I sell most of my stuff, when I fill that out, it requires, like I have to title it something. I mean, you could just put untitled, but why not just come up with a cool name? So yes, definitely. Wake up phone. Did I answer these? Yeah. Okay, we have 14 minutes left. Did I math that right? Yes, 14 minutes left. So I don't know what questions, if you guys have any. Oh, I had stuff I wanted to ramble about too, and I can't remember what it was. I was like, oh, that would be a good topic. I need to start writing those down because I was like thinking that would be a good topic. Do I have any written? Let me look in my notepad. Actually, I could probably find it in these notes. Oh, good idea, Nick. If you have not already, or if you don't know what it is, if you want to watch more of my longer lessons, I have over 400 and multiple mediums available over at Patreon for as little as $6 a month. You get access to all 400 instantly. They're not separated by tier. The videos, you get every single one of them. And what else about that? 400 lessons. That's a lot of lessons. I've been uploading them since 2014. So it's not like they were all super rushed. Like these are just, I've been doing it for that long and uploading those videos there. So if you want to follow along with longer lessons, one of the things that was interesting, and I need to contact that lady. I had someone contact me today. She just signed up, and within an hour she wanted to cancel. It's been a busy day, so I haven't gotten to deal with it. And she wanted to know if she could have a refund. Yes, I'm definitely going to refund her. But also I'm going to require, watch some more videos, because she said she signed up, but then realized when she's looking through the videos, she felt that they were too hard for her. No, those are the lessons you want to follow. You want to follow things that feel too hard. Like if somebody follows something, let's say my ravens that are, I'll actually show you those in a second. My ravens that are super detailed. Yeah, if you're a beginner, yours aren't going to look quite like that, but if you follow that lesson, you are going to learn so much more than if you followed a lesson intended for beginners. When you follow beginner lessons, you will forever be a beginner. You don't progress. You need to jump into the things that are too difficult. So I need to talk to the lady and let her know that, because I want to give her a chance, like, watch a few, try them anyway. Like, I'll refund you, not a problem. But I'd like you to, while the membership's still active, go ahead and try a few of those, because that is how you're going to grow. You want to jump into things that feel way too difficult. If you stay with what's comfortable, what you feel is your skill level, you're not going to progress past that. That's it. You hit your ceiling. So find things that are too hard. Find things that you know you're not going to do as good of a job as that teacher, but it doesn't matter, because you're going to progress. You yourself are getting better, and that is what matters. So definitely check that out. Also, let me show you. Oh, it's kind of big though. It's going to be hard to show you. So this is the painting. I'm almost done with it. The ravens, and the lighting's not great, but I like how the water came out. Super sparkly, underwater. I love this guy. The crab. I don't know if you can see him well, but I'm super happy with that. This, I need to work to make it, I need to add more of a blue tint, so it's a little bit more underwater, and pull a little bit more like fading small corals down to the bottom edge, but it's almost done. It almost gets to hang on. This one I painted for myself. That is definitely going on my wall in the living room. And that's a good lesson too. I talk about this a lot, but make sure if you're struggling or you're trying to paint, like find your own style, find something that is unique to you, paint something for your living room wall, your bedroom wall, paint for you. That right there, you're guaranteeing you're finding your style because it's something you like. Your style is what you like, whether it be the type of colors you choose, the composition, the subject matter. These are all the things that make your style. If you are trying to paint what you think is popular, what you think is going to sell, that's not your style. That's somebody else's style that you're trying to like hang on to. One, you're not going to be super passionate about it because it's not yours. It's not what you liked. But two, it's not going to stand out. You want your work to stand out and be separate. If you are on my email newsletter, I wrote about that today, but well, last night and sent it today. But you want to stand out with your artwork. If I paint, oh, like, okay, this one, I love this one. I think he's beautiful. But if all I painted were, like, if that was it, that looks a lot like a lot of people's style. It's not really unique to me. The painting I just showed you with the ravens, that's more my style. That's going to be easier to sell something that is more unique. With that swan, that's harder to sell because there's tons of swans that look just the same. You want to do something that is more what you're interested in and more unique to you if you're trying to make the sale. If you're doing what's popular, thousands and thousands of artists are doing the same popular thing. One of the things I talked about in the email newsletter, the link should be in the video description if you want to sign up for that, but it's free. Let's say Thomas Kinkade, back in like the late 90s, Thomas Kinkade was the big thing. Everybody wanted Kinkade. And all the artists, like when I was teaching classes, everyone wanted to learn to paint like Kinkade. Well, one, I was definitely not at the point where I could teach the lighting he did, and I knew where that was. Or, I knew why his was so much better. I wasn't good at the contrast and the lighting, or as good as, nowhere near what he was doing. But that people weren't doing a good job. So it was like wish.com Kinkade. So one, you're lost in a crowd of thousands of artists trying to do the same thing. Two, wish.com Kinkade is not that impressive. So you're not going to get many sales unless you're the best of the best. You are not going to be really competing when it comes to the super popular things. And I mean, you're not standing out. You're not painting something you're super passionate about. Paint something you want. Paint something for your wall. That is unique. There is not another painting quite like that one because it's things I like. I like ravens. I love crabs. Weird, right? I have several. I have reef tanks if you're like, what are you talking about? But things that I personally liked, those little black and white striped fish, the 3 striped damsels. Can't put them in my tank because they will unalive all my other fish, but I love them, so I paint them in things. So, you have all of the things I like in that. It is unique to me, whether it be just the subject matter or the way that I combined everything, the flowers, all of that is unique. Like, that stands out from a sea of Thomas Kinkade things, a sea of Bob Ross things. Do stuff that you like for your wall, and you're guaranteeing to find your own style. Okay, let's see. Nick said Sebastian. Well, no, he was red. Close. Lily said, your glasses, are they bifocal? Do you use reading glasses to look at a screen on a computer? They are not, but I need to. Like, I definitely am going to have to get into progressives or bifocal or something because I'm constantly having to do this. And these are I have 2 different sets of glasses. One, like, I could not see across the yard, like if I could see out my stained glass looking windows, but I can't like see far away with these ones. These are my more up close, like, ones reading. I don't wear any, but like my eyes are getting bad fast, so I'm gonna have to. Let's see. Art B&B said, was there a particular commission that made you decide never again? Yeah, I had a lady who wanted me to paint her wedding photo. I don't think her husband showered ever, and it was bad. It wasn't just the husband, her. The whole photo was like, I can't make this look good. These 2 people, I'm sure they're sweet as can be. I can't make it look good. And it was kind of my final straw of like, you know what? I'm not going to do commissions anymore because I wasn't passionate about that. I like occasionally, if I get the right photo of a person, I want to paint it. But just a random wedding photo of people who, I can't finish any of those sentences without being super like, no. Why wouldn't you wash your hair before your wedding night? I mean, I'm just saying. And it wasn't a cool, edgy look. That's not where we were going with that. that was kind of my last, like, I'm definitely not doing that anymore, but I was also getting to where I was doing so much with YouTube. I didn't have time to really give commissions the attention that they need. Like, you have to have a lot of going back with the person. You need to be on a time schedule with them. They need to know when they're getting it done. They need, there's a lot involved, and I couldn't do that and YouTube. And YouTube was where I was making, well, Patreon teaching that way was where I was making most of my money. So I didn't feel I could provide the customer service necessary. And I just wasn't passionate about painting wedding portraits of somebody who didn't bother to shower before their wedding and the other person didn't fit in her dress. Oh, that's mean. But seriously, that was like 3 sizes too small. It was not okay. And I'm looking at that going, that is inappropriate for me to paint. So yeah, it was, you can look cute at any size. Just wear clothes that are actually your size. So yeah, it was, yeah, that was kind of my, like, I don't want to paint that at all. Mostly because I knew I couldn't make it look good. And at that point in time, in order for me to paint something, I had to make a video out of it on YouTube in order to be on time with my schedule with YouTube, because I was on a strict schedule at the time. I couldn't do, like, it was just, none of that was working out for me. So yeah, I was like, yeah, I don't want to paint that. That's my final straw. That was my never again moment. And they were nice. She was a nice lady and he was nice, I'm sure. I couldn't make it look good. There was nothing I was going to be able to do to make it not look like I did a bad job. Like, the photographer overexposed the white dress was just the white blob. Like, their photographer was not a photographer. Having a camera does not make you a photographer. So it was everything about this photo was just a hot mess. The size of the dress, the unwashed husband, the photographer overexposing the dress. So it's not even like I could make up for the other issues by putting tons of pretty detail in the dress. I couldn't see the detail. It was overexposed all to hell. So yeah, that was my kind of like, I can't. So yeah. Let's see. And honestly, that scenario was like so long ago. It's also possible I'm remembering it more extreme, or maybe I'm not remembering it as extreme. I don't know. Let's see. Aline said, I need that painting in my life with the ravens. Well, I still have that. Oh, you can't. Yeah, I need to finish that leopard to see if that's one you need in your life. Let's see. Lily said, I have issues with my glasses trying to look at a screen. I can't have my reference on the computer. Mine's up close, but it's definitely getting to where, like, while I'm working, I'm constantly, like, pulling the glasses down to look up close at the artwork and then putting the glasses up at I'm having issues for sure. Let's see. Aline says, by wall, do you mean my wall? Art Bambi said, OMG, that looks like a Baltimore piece. A Baltimore piece? What's a Baltimore piece? I don't know what that is. Jason said, our conversations used to be so hard. It's gotten better over time, though. Oh, I just thought of something you could do, a Lisa dictionary. The problem is I don't remember the things I had trouble with, so I would never finish the dictionary. I'd be like, oh, there was something, but what was it? I don't remember. Let's see. Pauline said 60 days until retirement. Congratulations, and I can draw and paint every day. I can't wait. Yay! That's exciting. Art Bambi said, are you planning on making prints of the Raven? I definitely will. I'm a huge fan of it. Baltimore girly here. What is a Baltimore thing? Why is it Baltimore? I don't know what that is. The location? Why would it, like, what about Baltimore? I'm so confused. Give me the informations. Nick said they're all red once they're cooked. Oh my gosh. Or is that a lobster? Oh my gosh. Well, you're up in Maine. You should be the expert. Let's see. Nick said, my art epiphany, only painting things that I want to paint from photos I want to use. Yeah. Basically, yes. That is a good way to sum up what mine, yeah. Aline says, unwashed husband, I love story time. Well, I don't want to be mean, because they were, like, that is actually kind of mean, because they were probably very nice. Although, seriously, take a bath, I don't think it's mean to say take a shower. Like, I could smell you through the photo. Like, Aline said, yes, leopard and raven. Can't pick favorites here. Lisa, not fair. Oh, Baltimore Ravens football team. Oh, okay. See, I don't do sports, so that just did not even cross my mind. Baltimore, Maryland. Okay, Ravens and Crabs. Nick says, a sports ball thing, I think. Nick's about like I am with sports. NFL team. Brittany said, have you been checked to see if you have cataracts in your eyes? I'm asking because my mom had to have a cataract surgery on her 2 eyes apart last year. It's been a couple of years since I've been to the doctor, the last time I got this prescription, and he did like all kinds of crazy tests because my insurance for some reason was covering some crazy, I think I paid an extra $40 for like some super duper checking something thing, but no, he didn't find anything like that. A normal eye doctor would be able to tell, right? Unicorn Art said, had cataract surgery last year, learned that they start shortly after age 30 and folks getting them removed in their 40s now proactively. Really surprised. Interesting. I'll be 48 in April. So yeah, I'm getting there. I'm definitely, cataracts, doesn't that make it more cloudy? Because I'm not having that, it's just the detail I don't see. And the doctor was saying that that's just like normal at my age, like you're just gonna lose the detail. So I have to like get super up close, which is fun when I'm recording in my head. You're seeing part of the back of my head. So yeah. Okay, we are at 10 o'clock. Thank you guys so much for joining tonight. If you have anything that you would like to see me paint or draw next week, leave a comment in the video description, like after the video's over, because I can actually see those easier. Like go back and make a comment. Oh, I'm asking for you to do extra work. That's rude, but it helps. If you have requests, let me know. And make sure to check our moderators channel. Joseph live streams every week when he's feeling well. Clark Fine Art live streams every week. And Nick does not upload often, but when he does, it's really good. And we have Peppernilla Las Vegas said, can you please share who you recommend we order prints from? Yeah, I'll answer that as our last question for the night. So if I'm doing drop ship stuff, I just do Fine Art America. Super easy because I don't have to really get involved. I don't make as much money on those, but I also don't have to like actually ship anything. So Fine Art America is my normal print stuff. If I'm doing merch like sweatshirts, t-shirts, that sort of thing, I use Teespring. If I'm doing G-Clays, I use G-Clay Today. Oh my gosh, their stuff, that is the best quality. That is some good stuff. So those are my recommendations. Thank you guys so much for joining, and I will see you guys next week. Bye.